Well, the state wants more folks with disabilities out in the community, and it is pushing a new rule to do just that. But families at one of these jobs programs called Sheltered Workshops tell me it does wonders for their siblings and children. The people running the workshops say closing them will force more people with disabilities to sit at home while costing taxpayers millions. This may look like any other shop floor, and in many ways it is. The workers here shred documents, stuff envelopes, and crush old tapes. It's tedious work, but they are happy to do it. What do you like about the work you do here?
Everything.
Workers at this shop, run by the Westmoreland County Blind Association, have intellectual or physical disabilities. They say they are comfortable here.
It treats you like you're an individual, not like you're somebody you're not. Not like you're stupid.
Our bosses do not consider us as clients or disabled people. They consider us as another human being.
That is a big reason sheltered workshops were created decades ago. But some critics say the workshops segregate people with disabilities from the larger community. Now, Pennsylvania is considering new rules that would require those with disabilities to spend up to 75% of their time in the community. The Blind Association says that could spell the end of this and other workshops.
They're trying to promote independence and choice. In my opinion, they're eliminating a choice of what these individuals want to do.
Action News Investigates went to the state official pushing the plan, Human Services Secretary Ted Dallas. They're happy, their families are happy. Why do you want to disrupt that?
I don't think we're disrupting it so much. Our goal is a simple one. If you can work in the community, and if you're able to do that, we want you to be there. We want you to have that quality of life. We want you to interact with everyone. We want you to have what we call an everyday life.
But the Blind Association says about 3/4 of the people here would not be able to hold down an outside job. The sister of Michael Kissel, who has Down syndrome, recalled what happened when he tried to work at a fast food restaurant.
A new manager came on and decided that the retard, and she used the word to him multiple times, embarrassed him in front of people that worked there as well as customers. And Michael shut down. He was done.
For people who work here, this is not just a job, it's a community, a social network. And they and their families tell me without it, they would have no place to go, no place to work. Billy Crawford's mother says his life would be radically different without the workshop.
He would be sitting at home being bored because he's not capable of working outside of here.
Lori Crawford and other parents say state officials should walk in their shoes.
They have no clue what us parents deal with from day in, day out.
Christine Bastel, who has Down syndrome, looks forward to coming to work every day, according to her father.
I know she doesn't want to leave here. That could do some major things to her.
Dallas says evidence shows people with disabilities do better when workshops close and they integrate into the larger community. But not always, according to a study by George Washington University that looked at the impact of shutting down workshops like the one in Greensburg. The study found success in Vermont and Washington state, with large numbers of those with disabilities finding jobs in typical workplaces. But in Maine, the study found fewer people with intellectual disabilities are working, and many of those who are working fewer hours and have shorter work weeks. In Pennsylvania, the Blind Association director says the rules change could also cost taxpayers millions of dollars at a time the state is trying to cut billions from the budget.
Eliminate something that's working and try something new that hasn't worked in other states and charge everybody else an additional $31 million. It's just illogical.
Dallas says it's unclear what the final price tag would be. But workers and their families say their concerns are about choice, not cost.
You people in Harrisburg, listen up good. I ain't leaving. No matter what they say, I ain't leaving. I'm standing my ground.
And lots of his colleagues feel the same way. Now, Secretary Dallas tells me the rules changes are still in the discussion stages. The state has received more than 2,000 comments about the changes. Some local legislators tell me they want to keep the workshops, but the legislature will have little to say about this. We will let you know the final decision. Paul Van Osdal, Pittsburgh's Action News 4.
New on 4, a ban on fraternity and sorority parties both on